Welcome back to Making Video Your Business. Today I'm joined by my good friend Vicky Bibiris from Location. Vicky, thanks so much for coming to Grantham.
Well, it's my pleasure.
When we look at the industry, the property industry as a whole in the UK, we try and find little nuggets of businesses that are doing fantastically well with their visuals, and that's what this podcast is all about. And you always produce such incredible stuff, which is great. There's no work for us in it, but that's fine. But the key thing is that you are doing it and you're living it. How important are visuals to location, and how have you seen that change over the last 2 or 3 years?
It's very important to us as a business. It's crucial, and it's something that we've been doing for quite a long time now. I think it's our kind of 6th year with a marketing team. Obviously, that started out with one individual.
Yeah.
We're now with 3, and that's amazing. It's almost rivaling the size of the sales and lettings team, and that just shows you in this day and age just how important it is. And it makes a big difference, because our sales manager, Anna, will say it all the time. She goes on evaluation, people already know who she is, and what she stands for, and what our business does, and who we are. And we may have never met. You do get some odd smiles when you're walking down the high street and stuff, but it just straight away, guards are dropped. It's not that case of, right, so what can you do for me? They know who we are, they respect who we are and what we do, and so that barrier's just broken down, makes a huge difference. And the passive audience, who we would only necessarily deal with if they came across us when they were looking to move, is now seeing our content all over the place and seeing that we're community agents, what we're like. And so they too, when they are ready, then come in and go, watched your videos, keen to get you guys around and see what you think of our place. And that's awesome. Starkly different to agency life of, 15, 20 years ago.
Or even 5 years ago.
Or even 5. And in many instances, for a lot of businesses, they're experiencing something totally different, because with agency, sadly, one of a few industries that has really, I hasten to say it, but failed to evolve. And that's something we should talk about, because actually I think now more than ever, it's crucial that we look at things differently and elevate to kind of 20, 40,000 feet and look down and go, if we were to start again, what would we do and how would we do it differently? But to finish answering your question, how has it changed in the last 2-3 years? We never used to really secure leads off the back of it. It was brand awareness.
Just general marketing.
Absolutely. And so, yes, that had massive benefits for the passive market that was coming across us, but would I have said it's a huge lead generator? It wasn't. And we track it as much as we can, and as honest as people will be when we ask them the questions. Now, it's like, oh my God, the lead volume coming in from TikTok and Instagram, they're messaging us in DMs, they're sending emails in, and that apartment, like, can I have a bit more info? How do we link up the post to the listing so that it comes through the website and goes into the inquiry center? This is nothing that we've had to deal with before. Great problem to have, but are very late.
Talk to me about some of the channels that you're leveraging now. So I know that you are big into TikTok. Now, TikTok's obviously exploded across the world over the last couple of years. The user profile for that tends to be younger, but obviously is aging as population ages. How have you managed to leverage what is, I guess, a new, I don't hasten to say new social media because it's not that new, but if you look at Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, and LinkedIn, they've been around a long time. Facebook came to the UK in 2007, right? So they are traditional social medias, in, like, for want of a better word, traditional social media. TikTok's very new. How have you seen that network adopted into the property industry, and how have you leveraged it?
We've seen the adoption come through a bit slower, but then you've got amazing champions like Megan 18 who does an incredible job. The way that we tried to, the mistakes that we made on our journey of establishing our kind of presence on TikTok and the content we put out on those, we realized very quickly that, hang on a minute, people just want the property stuff. So our Instagram page, as an example, took quite the while to leverage, because we would put community stuff on there, we'd put property stuff on there, we'd put staff things, cultural things that were
Mm-hmm.
going on within the business. So unless you really were interested in our business, there wasn't much value for anybody outside of our community. But that started to work quite well for us because we know that's a hyper local platform of people that are quite connected to our business. Whereas TikTok, for example, just interested in the property. So where we tried to transition the content that we were putting on Instagram onto TikTok, it wasn't working.
Mm.
And it really wasn't gaining much traction. So we tried to increase output volume and listen to your Gary V's and be like, right, more.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, no, still not working there. And then we had to understand that this audience wants something completely different. So then establishing what the trends were, voiceovers, what are people vibing with at the moment,
Yeah.
what's getting the
Yeah.
most attention, and how can we, in our voice and our tone and our style, replicate that? So yes, TikTok's quite new and it's taken us a while to figure it out. And everybody was assuming that the huge volume plays would be on TikTok, and they are. But then what we've realised in the last actually quite few months is actually the views are more so on Instagram.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So, and Facebook, which no one's talking about at the moment, has had quite the resurgence.
Yeah.
Our followership on Facebook doubled in a month in September, and the views we were getting on there was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But we're shooting different content for TikTok, different content for Instagram. Sometimes we can mix those up and use them as YouTube shorts. So we can kind of, squeeze the lemon there, for example.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work.
Of course. Yeah. And what do you think the value, I guess one of the biggest things that we get asked as a video business, right, is, okay, so we're going to make this video, right? What's it going to do for our business? And it's has been in the past quite difficult to quantify because people say, oh, they make like one video and then they want to have something that's landmark, Rolls Royce, whatever, and they want to know exactly what their return on investment is going to be for that one piece of content. And you can loosely get to it. You can say, well, if you have a profile made, you can put it on your website, you can put it on your social channels, you can send it out to your clients, you can put it in your reception, you can use it on an exhibition stand, so you get a lot of use out of it. But where the value comes is in the drip, drip, drip of constant content. And I think what's been fantastic to see with Location is a consistency of content across multiple channels, and also lots and lots of different ideas. What do you think are some staples, some things that you've got to sell your product, right? You've got to sell your product. Okay. You've got to say, we're selling this house, or we're renting this property, whatever. Yeah. But other than that, what do you think are staple bits of content that have really, propelled you into people's feeds?
I think focusing in it on your community is really, really key. And then that way you can build a hyper local audience,
Of course,
that
yeah.
actually serves the business, and you'll end up with a better ROI rather than just chasing views and likes. So going in and interviewing the local headmaster or mistress, the local butcher, speaking to local business owners, locals on the street, just get the mic. I mean, this is a bougie microphone. However, you can get very cheap microphones on
Sure.
Amazon, handheld stuff, and you can do what the average TikToker will do these days and just ask people questions on the street.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I've
know?
seen him doing it with a lapel mic.
Yeah,
Literally, 10
literally,
quid,
yeah, just
10 quid lapel mic,
handing it over.
literally handing it over, yeah.
Quite literally. So getting creative in that and just experimenting and having fun with it. Because the thing is, and you mentioned the consistency, if your world revolves around just that one video, then it's just never going to work out. And some of the ones that you think, oh my God, this is going to blow, absolutely tanks. And you're like, what? And then a random one comes along that you had absolutely no faith in, actually didn't even want to put it up, and it blows. So trying different things and being authentic with yourself. So I'd be speaking to the host, the presenter, or the owner of that agency and being, okay, like, so what's your thing? What are you interested in? Is it football? Go and speak to the local football team. Is it whatever it may be? But if you're interested and quite passionate about it, that will come across in the video. So embedding yourself within the local community and finding people to speak to, and even asking their views on what's going, if you want to bring it back to what you do, how are you finding the housing market locally? Have you been affected by anything that's happening?
Yeah.
And just questions. Is people are so interested in what other people have got to say. And I know it seems really scary, and everybody always asks, Megan gets it all the time. I randomly get it and I'm barely ever on video. Oh, but yeah, you're really confident with that. And I'm like, am I?
Mm.
Who said
Yeah.
this? It's not about that. It's uncomfortable for most people, for the vast majority, but just doing it anyway and making it more comfortable for yourself by doing it about something you're interested in and you
Yeah.
care about and you believe in, rather than, oh, he told me to go and speak to the butcher about the latest range of pork sausages
Yeah.
and you're a vegan.
Yeah. It's no
It's
good, is
just
it?
like, what's
Yeah.
the point? But yeah, I'd bring it back into what you're into. Get creative and inspired by people, whether it's inside the industry or outside of. I'm more a
Mm.
fan of outside of, if I'm honest.
Mm.
And then do your thing, trial and error.
What are your thoughts on AI now? Because obviously you've got a lot of that technology coming forward, with ChatGPT, and there's a thing from Paul Long who does Facebook stuff that we've worked with in the past, and you sort of, you've got these sort of fake yous effectively. You can upload a photo of you and a bit of your voice, and all of a sudden there's a there's a random computer generated Vicky or computer generated Chris. I mean, what are your thoughts around that?
We better get used to it. It's going to be really, really hard to decipher what the truth is moving forward, but it is going to change absolutely everything in ways that most people can't fathom, and I include myself in that. Um, I think it's going to change how agencies run
Mm.
and what people we need and what we need them for.
Yes.
Hence why you can see so many agents now almost like presenters.
Mm.
I helped my colleague Anna out on a shoot the other day. I'd been nurturing these clients because they didn't initially come on with me back in 2013, and chose another agent, and it didn't go as well as they'd hoped. They valued it. 10 years later, we get it on. I'm back in the house with Anna. Anna's doing the tour. And the lady goes, so what came first? Were you a presenter? Did you do something in media and then become an agent? Or she's like, I've absolutely never done anything like that. And she wasn't a firm believer in the first instances because it was uncomfortable.
Mm.
She started doing it and realized actually more and more how powerful it is and the results it's now yielding. Anna will test all of her instructions off market, as in when we say off market, we mean the portals,
Yeah.
onto social, no price, get the questions in, start and the leads, start speaking with people, assess that, yeah, that sounds about right, and then market it. The game's changed. The role of the negotiator will change considerably. Now, and this, where it comes back to is changing our thinking is, yeah, but we need people on the phone. It's a
Yeah.
people thing. No, it's a communications thing.
Yeah.
And that's what AI is here to do in the first instance
Yeah.
before it evolves massively. And then we get into
Yeah.
the likes of deep fakes and so on and so forth. So it's going to make things a lot easier.
Yes.
Now, no one has an excuse.
No.
Yes, there's products available to be able to draw up content and get that out there in terms of blog form, but no one's thinking, or not enough people are thinking, well, I can do that, and then I can just stick on the camera and I can read out that blog,
Yeah.
and I can read out that market review, and I can story tell my listings and so on and so forth. So thinking a bit outside of the box with how this technology can actually help us.
Yeah.
Talking outside CRM and delving deeper into this kind of conversation just on that basic level.
Mm.
All of the resources are there. Now, yes, you can do static imagery and create pretty much anything your imagination desires, but ultimately we still need people behind that screen. As much as you can deep fake it, the tech and the audio is better,
Yeah.
but the tech for video is just not there yet for
You still
mass.
need, I think you still need, I mean, crucially, like you can do an AI like version of you and it will move your mouth and it's a bit weird and
Very
there's a bit
weird.
of audio and stuff, but it can't go to a house and stand in someone's living room and do a
100%.
guided tour. It can't go and interview someone in a shop. It can't go and see that headmaster, headmistress, that butcher, and do a piece there. It can't do. It can do some things, but it can't do what humans can do. And I
Absolutely.
think there's a lot of fear around it. I think there's a lot of fear from a lot of creatives around, what's this going to do to our business? But journalists who go to an event or go to a demonstration or a march or to a play or to review something, whatever, it can't go and do that. It can't go and do that. Just like it can't go and interview your team about what their particular feelings are or their values for your business or whatever. Yeah, okay, you could get some sort of pseudo sort of like random like bit of your team, but you can't get that general, that sort of real feel.
Mm,
That's what I think. So I think there's a bit around it, but I do agree with you. I think there's a sweet spot somewhere between the machine and the man, and I think there is this or woman, but there is a sort of I think a sweet spot somewhere in the middle where you're using it enough to generate you the stuff that really you can then leverage yourself. But
I
I think I
totally
don't know
agree.
where that line is yet.
I think we need to figure it out, and the line is where we draw it. The advancements allow us now to, because you want to be enhanced by that technology. You're not going to be replaced by AI. You're going to be replaced by humans using AI, as they say, and that's absolutely true. So if you're using it to enhance your efficiency, your productivity, the ideas, and so on and so forth, and then you just execute that, you've just saved yourself hours in planning, in thinking. And most people actually struggle with the ideas more than anything.
Mm,
So being able to have a back and forth conversation with an AI that totally understands what it is that you're asking it,
mm,
and then instantly produces you the ideas that you've been longing for, and you don't
yeah,
have to pay for anything, then use it. Use that to your
that's right,
advantage.
man. No one was crying when the phone book stopped being printed.
I mean,
No one was really upset other than people who work there
mm,
about Blockbuster closing.
mm,
Because of Netflix. Like these are evolutions of humanity, and I think AI is another one of those.
mm,
I mean, it remains to be seen whether we end up with a Terminator scenario, which is terrifying. But in the interim, you know, this is this is I think in a lot of ways good for business.
mm,
Yeah, okay, there is an issue around some content writers, but it still can't write like a human writes, and it still can't pull you the right data all the time,
yeah,
and it still needs a human to make it
happen.
happen, and
Mm,
also to actually check it and fact check it and do all those other sorts of things. So I think it can only go so far right now. Will it get better? Probably, 100%. But 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I mean, when I had my first mobile phone, I remember when I was at school, I was about 16, 17. So that's not 10 years ago. That's like
mhm.
20 odd years ago, right? So, but it feels it's like
I know.
not that long ago,
Yeah,
right?
I
So
know
when I
that
was like
feeling.
17, I got my first phone and it just did texts and phone calls. That was it. No games on there until Snake came along on the
I mean,
Nokia
changed my
3200,
life.
changed my life, right? But there was an advert. I remember there being a Nokia advert of there was a guy on a bus and he was watching on his mobile phone, he was watching a video, and it was a Nokia advert, and it was like late 90s, right? And it was like so outlandish, like so out there. And people and the advert and I can't remember the strap line of the advert, but it was like, imagine a world, when you can watch movies on the go or whatever. And it was just like a black and white movie on his phone. And I remember thinking to myself, that'll never happen. That'll never happen. Like we can't. All we can do is like send half a message on
Yeah,
text, and
literally.
and it's in a line. It's not even like all on the screen. It's all like green and black, like Amstrad. And then you fast forward now, and not only can you watch whole movies, you can stream entire box sets of stuff, your entire music libraries in there,
Mm,
everything. You think about there's that great photo, isn't there, of like all the tech from the 80s and the 90s that are
I
effectively
love
now in
that.
your pocket, right? Faxes and Walkmans and all that stuff.
Floppy
Oh,
disks.
floppy disks, yeah. And all that stuff is now in your pocket. So in the space of a really short window of time, sort of 20 odd years, you've gone from there to there. So will AI improve? Yes, it will. But how it's going to improve is interesting. And I think it's about how people adopt it and how people leverage it.
Mm.
I think that's really key. Where do you think the next sort of 6 to 12 months is for location? You're obviously at the top of your game right now in terms of visual content. Your numbers on TikTok are wild. Your Facebook stuff's incredible. What is your marketing strategy for the next 12 months? To either maintain that or improve.
In terms of the marketing strategies to maintain it and improve, is pushing all of the team rather than just one or two
Yeah,
individuals that have, had success with it and been more comfortable into doing video footage.
that's really important, isn't it? Because if you have
Absolutely.
one person leave and they do all of it, you've got a real problem.
Yeah.
So is that part of the thought process, that making it so that you've got that team approach, which is key, but also everyone's part of the whole Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're more of a what if they stay kind of
Of course.
attitude,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
Because a
Yeah.
lot of people will be like, yeah, but if they get out there and they start doing really well on their socials and stuff, like, what if they leave? And I'm always like, yeah, but what if they stay?
Yeah. What if they stay? Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah,
that's a
but
more
crucially
important
as well,
question.
like people are
And if they do,
short-sighted with that.
fine,
People are short-sighted with that
massively.
because the whole time they're with you,
Yeah, you're
you're
missing.
leveraging their personal brand.
Exactly.
So, you know, I had a really good boss when a few years ago actually, and he always employed buzzy, exciting, articulate, smart, young professionals, and it was he would always do that. And I always said to him, like, what happens if they leave? And his answer was, if they leave, wish them well. He said, because you have leveraged the best parts of them, you've helped them grow in their community, in their career, and you've had the value. You've had the value. If they've done a really great job for you and they want to go and do something else, you can't keep them.
Good for them.
But good for them. But
Good for them.
he said, wish them well, and hope that the next person you get in is as good as they were. That's it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But I think ultimately now for us, it's a standard. So as part of our hiring process, and we've adapted it recently, and I've been blown away. I might show you off camera actually a couple of the entries that we had. So we're like, just do a video, 60 to 90 seconds. If you want it longer, that's absolutely fine, but not shorter. And just talk to us about what you're passionate about. And the way people have been like editing their own videos and like doing something really cool and getting a message across, we're like, wow. So just to have the first stage Zoom interview, we need that video from you to see the buy-in, because we now know that it's going to be crucial that anybody joins a team has
Yeah.
to be comfortable in doing it. We would not accept no.
Yeah.
Because it's part of our processes. So we're helping everybody build out their own personal brand. So our marketing support team support the individuals within our business to build out that personal brand for themselves and do as well as they possibly can, adding value to their communities. That's going to be a must now moving forward for most people. And I think the quicker businesses adopt it and go, actually, yeah, there is a better way, the better. Because like you said at the beginning, the age demographic on TikTok is growing. Things are changing. People are using this now as a search platform. First, everyone would go to Google, then YouTube took some of those people away because the younger generation was like, yeah, I just kind of want to see a video as to how this is done. Well, TikTok are doing that really, really well now. It's almost become somewhat of a search engine, and they're also going straight B2C. So they've cut out Amazon. You can just sell product direct, no shipping, like it's smart.
Yeah.
But looking at our industry, it's actually, in terms of how we currently transact and what people do and how they do it, it hasn't actually changed that much. But if we know those changes are happening, then what does that mean for portals, for example? If the client of 5 years' time isn't going to be typically just searching portals to find a home and is looking at other ways to do so, well, how can we ensure we're at the forefront of that? So we're thinking, 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, because we have to start questioning what our clients are going to look like and how they're going to be searching. The experience with advancements of AI and social media platforms, X, and the direction they're trying to take that to, it's going to be a different picture. And we were sat last week with someone who's going to be helping us out for the next stage of our business. Going back to the question you asked us, and we're launching something completely new, and we're going down the franchise route. I was going to say between us, but there's a camera there. But that's fine. And he asked us a really good question. So I'm going to ask you, what did Henry Ford invent?
What did Henry Ford invent? Well, Ford Motor Company, Model T Ford.
Most people would have exactly the same answer. And now you'll get an insight as to why I'm going to be working with this individual for our business.
Yeah.
He said he invented the driver.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's a whole new level of thinking.
Yeah, true.
And he's absolutely right.
He's right, yeah.
So we need to be thinking about that for our business in the long run and in the future. And then adapting our processes, our marketing, our setup in order to facilitate that. For a long time, especially with the rise of the self-employed model and so on and so forth, we look at how our, friends across the pond are doing it and doing it really well. Over in Australia, killing it with personal brand. It's always been at the forefront, brokerages. And so we're like, okay, yeah, it kind of needs to be like that, but we've been slow in the adaptation. But the people that are doing it really well are enjoying the benefits. I totally buy into teams run in that sense. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a one-man band. That's not how the Australians and Americans do that, because you cap out your potential. So for people that want to do low volumes, that's absolutely great. People who want to do high volumes need a better solution. So providing great individuals who, because you could be a phenomenal agent and really help people move well, whether that's in sales or lettings, but not have the media team, the training team, that, you know, everything else, the systems, the processes, the tech stack, the website, everything that goes into a great agency. So looking at models that will help, options available to you to partner with individuals like PDS Media, because these guys are amazing, to provide that content, support you with facilitating making that. It's an absolute no-brainer for anybody that doesn't have a marketing team. It would cost you less than hiring one marketing individual. It's a no-brainer.
That is true.
So partnering, outsourcing. Yes, people initially get uncomfortable, especially with outsourcing. Yeah, but you know, it's people who don't want fewer team members. At times are getting tough.
Yeah.
The world's changing. We have to put the business first, because then we won't have anyone to be able to support.
That's right.
And I'm not saying sack teams. That's absolutely not what this is about. But actually, could those very individuals, like my lister, for example, or listers, doing a serious amount of video work, doing the valuations, the rest of it, and then having teams and tech back up everything else.
Just changing job roles rather than removing.
It's adaptation.
Yeah, I think that's key. I think that is key in a lot of businesses where, you know, we talk about the demise of the phone book salesman and all those other sorts of things. You know, just because there's changes doesn't mean that they're going to be out of work. It just means that they're going to do something different. And so as your business evolves, maybe evolve your team, you know, change them. And I think that's a really good point, that, you know, just because things are changing doesn't mean you have to change your team. Just, they might just have to do a different sort of job.
The thing is, Chris, we know though, change for all of us, I'm yet to meet an individual that can honestly say they're not uncomfortable with change.
Everyone hates it.
Everyone hates change. When we set out our core values back in like 2014, and it still remains, we embrace change through constant innovation. And we've got a host of behaviors that align with that core value, so that the team can understand that it has to be embraced. The velocity now, the speed of change has gone up exponentially, and we haven't seen anything yet. It's the only thing guaranteed as well, change and death. Whilst it is uncomfortable, we know that the magic happens outside the comfort zone. And for the people that do break through that barrier and do the uncomfortable thing and then see the result and go, okay, the world's still spinning, you know, the sky's still blue or grey.
Agents looking to turbocharge 2024 for themselves, what are your top 3 tips?
We've seen huge successes now on pushing the boundaries on our output, by being more efficient with our time. So, for example, just listed, just sold videos, just listed, just let videos, have really helped our community understand what's going on in terms of transactions locally.
Great.
But for us, it's a case of quick walkthrough video. Gimbal, handheld,
whatever. Just
do it. And then each individual that's doing that voiceover can put their own flair and creativity on that and have a bit of fun with it. Try and do things a little bit differently. Look outside of industry for inspiration. And when you're doom scrolling, as we all tend to do, save the audio that's impressed you. Save and send to any relevant team members any kind of inspiration you think, actually, we could do something like that. You know, so use that doom scrolling time, which I always get like, oh, you still, and I'm like, it's research. And annoyingly for me, it actually really is. Use that time effectively. One thing that's been really interesting lately is the comments that we receive. I think it makes people feel really uncomfortable, like when you're getting negative comments, and it definitely holds people back from putting that content out there. Engage with it. You don't have to be passive aggressive. You don't have to, do you know what I mean? But you can have fun with it. We understand that everybody has an opinion, and boy, do they love sharing it. And for some reason, one comment that we get all the time is, well, in Scotland, you could get a castle for that. And we're like, yeah, I don't actually want to live in Scotland though. But engaging with that comment in a fun, light-hearted way, responding to comments, actually helping people and be like, well, actually, you might think that's really expensive, but we just sold their neighbours for £1 million. Do you see what I mean? Straight away, those keyboard warriors were like, interesting. Like, you know, it's not personal, but by engaging with the comments, yes, that helps your algorithm even more, but it takes away the fear. And if you're not getting stuff like that, then you're not doing enough of it. So embrace that.
Mate, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you coming, and I wish you continued success into 2024.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.